From the Fox News Podcast Network, I'm Dana Perino, and everything will be okay. Hello and welcome back to a special episode of Everything Will Be Okay. Today, I'm joined by a brilliant War and State Department correspondent, a man of incredible courage and humility, and a dear member of our Fox News family. Benjamin Hall has an incredible career. He reported around the world. It is outstanding, everything that he's accomplished. He mastered the art of delicately sharing the stories of people who often did not have the resources to do so on their own. He went to them to tell their story so that we could know what was going on. And he did this with the support of his team, with humility and empathy. His gift of storytelling is breathtaking, and he's exceedingly charming. After experiencing a life-threatening attack while covering the war on Ukraine in March of 2022, Benjamin wrote his memoir, Saved, to detail his recovery and the moments leading to the horrific event that would ultimately change his life. He dedicates this book and the stories he shares to his two colleagues who lost their lives that day in Ukraine, Sasha Kushanova and Pierre Zakrevsky. Benjamin joins me to share his story. Benjamin Hall, now I get you to myself, and I get you longer than the others who have their own shows on prime time. I saw you on Jesse Waters, of course. It was a great interview.
Yes.
And you've done a lot of media over the past 2 weeks, and we are grateful for that. You are the author of a best-selling book, Saved, A War Reporter's Mission to Make It Home. I brought it with me, and I have this idea that after we talk for a little bit, I'm just going to randomly open it up to one of my dog-eared pages, of which I think there are, 90% of the pages are dog-eared. And the notes that I took, and I'm just going to randomly ask you about that page.
Good.
Okay, but before we do that, let's set the stage for listeners who might not have seen you on the shows yet on Fox News. This book is your story up to now. You're only 40 years old?
Yep.
You have a long life ahead of you. But you had this very traumatic experience as a war reporter, and you've just passed the anniversary of the bomb that attacked you and our colleagues. So maybe just set the stage for people of how you are now here in the United States at Fox News trying to tell people about this book.
Well, in many ways, this is a homecoming to me. I've been working at Fox for about 7 years now, and we've been around the world. We've been covering conflicts wherever they happen. The phone rings, and we're trying to be the first people on the ground. And about a year ago, we were in Ukraine. Russians had recently invaded the country, and of course, that's where we needed to be. We needed to be right on the front, telling the story of what was happening there. And we'd covered the war for about 2 weeks, and the Russians were about to take over Kyiv, the capital city. They were surrounding it anyway. And that was the day that we decided to go out. Pierre Zakrevsky, our cameraman, Sasha, our fixer, and a couple of Ukrainian soldiers who were showing us around. And we went out that morning to film the defenses around the city. And that was the day, just over a year and 2 days ago, that we were attacked by Russian bombs. We're not sure if that was by a drone or by artillery. We're still trying to discover that exactly, and we're dealing with war crimes investigations to figure out if the Ukrainian intelligence know. But that day, sadly, Pierre, Sasha, and the two Ukrainians died. And I was badly injured myself. I lost my right leg. I lost my left foot. Badly burnt. Sight from my left eye. Shrapnel across the face. But I knew that minute after we were hit that I had to fight hard to get back. I had to fight hard to get home to my family. And I had to fight back to work as well. I believe so wholeheartedly that what we do is telling stories for our viewers, taking them around the world, that's something I wanted to keep doing. And so every day since, first I was in Warnstuhl in the base there for 10 days recovering. Then I was moved to San Antonio, to BAMC, Brooke Army Medical Center, and I spent 5 months there learning how to walk again, being given my limbs back that I'd lost, and building myself up mentally to come back. And while I was there recovering, I had a lot of thoughts in my mind. For the first couple of months, I couldn't move at all. And so it was about writing down what I was thinking, being honest about the struggles I was having, how difficult it was, talking about my family. And so many of those ideas started to come together, and I was lucky enough to be able to put them together in a book. Mm-hmm. And so here we are, a year later. I'm back with Fox. I'm back with all of my colleagues like yourself and everyone who's been so supportive all along to tell a story not only about what happened to me, but also to remember Pierre, and more importantly, to try and send a message out to all our viewers, all our audience, to anyone who's had a difficult time, that if you really have to, you can push on through, that if you need to, you can find a way through the darkest times. And there have been times over the last year which have been incredibly difficult for me, but I always thought that if I could do a little better the following day than I did on Monday, then I was going to get better. And I got home to my family about 4 months ago. And every day since then has just been about getting better, getting back to the real world, and doing as much as I can to help others who have gone through something similar to myself.
This podcast is called Everything Will Be Okay, which is based on a book that I wrote a couple of years ago that was mainly geared to young women, because I would do a lot of mentoring. And when they came into my office, they just filled with anxiety. And I would look at them and think, girls, everything's going to be fine. You are an educated American woman and you are loved. Just don't be in such a hurry. And I tried to say, like, everything will be okay. Well, the title really stuck with people. And the first day you were back, I don't know if you remember this, at the luncheon, you said, I believed everything would be okay. You said that. You said, I believe everything will be okay. And I think for anyone who is going through a challenge, to be able to look at you and say, if he believes that, then I should too.
Mm-hmm. That's how I felt all along. I knew that no matter how hard it was, on the other side, there was always going to be hope, light, something positive. And one of the things that happened to me during this whole year, this recovery, was that a lot of the things that I used to be worried about, the things about work, about your career, about the minor things in life, those worries disappeared. And I realized how weighed down I was by some of them. And I realized what's really important. It's being with your family. It's about doing the best every day. It's about trying hard. And in some ways, in many ways, I feel stronger and more confident now than I did before, because I have shed a lot of those worries of before. And I get so much pleasure from the simple, small, simple things like being at home, hugging my children, being with friends and family, that I've learned everything will be okay. And it's amazing, because that's something that I have thought every single day since this happened. Well, it's interesting because you have an amazing wife named Alicia, and you have 3 daughters. And it's something that parents, this phrase, everything will be okay, it's something that it's like almost usually the first thing that your parents ever say to you. Yeah. As a parent that you ever say to your children. It's the first thing you hear as a baby, and then you hear it all the way throughout your life. Can we go back to that point about shedding worry, and that you realized you were worried about things that didn't necessarily affect you in the big way? That's so interesting. And I'm a natural worrier. I've gotten a lot better about it. I don't believe that. Yeah, look, you know what? Ask Honor. Okay, she's firstborn girl. Yeah. I know that you and Alicia do a ton to make sure, but firstborn girls, I think, always are a little bit of a worrywart. Not. I wouldn't say that's universal, but whenever I'm in a crowd, if I ask, how many here is firstborn girl? They'll raise their hand, because they all come to those mentoring sessions because they're driven, but they worry about their futures. They worry about their friends. They worry about what other people think about them. They spend a lot of time comparing themselves to other, and social media doesn't help at all. But maybe talk a little bit about that lightness that comes from letting those worries go. And did that also change for Alicia? Like the things that she worried about, has that changed? It's a really interesting question. I feel that I went through that realization earlier. I realized that when I was at hospital, and I was getting better every day, and getting home was all that mattered. But for Alicia, those 5 months were incredibly hard. She was having to handle the whole family, keep the girls together, not let them worry too much. And I think that it was only when I got home and we could see that life was going to be, I say normal, but life was going to be fine and great again, that she started to realize it as well. But, everyone talks about what happened to me during this, but as much has happened to Alicia and my family, and people forget that. Yeah, you call her the hero of the book. It is. Honestly, the book is like a love story to her. You know, she has driven me throughout my whole career. She's made me wiser. She's made me more intelligent, and she got me through this as well.
For the full podcast, go to foxnewspodcast.com.